Hey y'all, I just saw some movies and I'm going to talk about them now in this video. No long rambling at the beginning, let's just get right into it. First, I saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. They directed the first movie, which I did not like. They also created Teen Titans Go, which I do not like. And I don't like Illumination as a studio either. I think they make the bottom of the barrel when it comes to animation. And this new movie seemed to have even worse reviews than the first, so I was fully prepared going into it to like it much less, but the sequel just carried over a lot of the same issues the first movie had while having some new ones and also even having some things I enjoyed more. Firstly, when you title the movie the Super Mario Galaxy movie, it gives an expectation that you'll get a movie that adapts one of the most beloved video games ever made, but it just barely does that. I would say only about 40% of the movie is really adapting the Galaxy games. There's Bowser Jr. and they go to space and stuff, and Rosalina's there as well. Rosalina was in the first scene, and I thought that scene was pretty okay, at least compared to the rest of the movie, but after that, she gets captured and does absolutely nothing the entire rest of the film. She's in maybe 3 other scenes and has 4 lines. It also doesn't help that there's multiple extended sequences in this movie that are from other Mario games. Like the first scene that we get with Mario and Luigi near the beginning of the movie is from Odyssey. There's also the casino scene, which is an Odyssey reference. They go so far as to literally play the Odyssey theme in the background. There's also a scene early on with Mario and Luigi doing a bunch of random side quests that are just references to levels from Super Mario Bros. 3. The movie also contains near the end Dry Bowser from New Super Mario Bros. The whole sequence with Baby Mario and Luigi serves literally no purpose at all other than having a Yoshi's Island reference. What really got me is when they announced ahead of the movie's release for no reason in particular that Fox McCloud was in the movie. Just on a marketing your movie level, this is a really bad choice because it ruins any surprise that a Mario fan or a Nintendo fan would have gotten out of his appearance. In the context of the movie though, he feels really out of place and also just poorly characterized in general. He doesn't really come off as authentically cool and charismatic. He just comes across as a dork. Glenn Powell's performance doesn't help either. The movie just doesn't have any sense of pace. It doesn't allow us to sit in the scene with the characters, having them grow, because it just goes to the next scene almost immediately. It makes the movie simultaneously feel really fast, but also really boring because there's nothing to latch onto emotionally. Again, that's a problem that the first movie had, but this movie just kind of exacerbated it. Another problem the first movie had that this one does as well is the voice acting is not very good, but now in this one, there's kid voice acting. And if there's one thing that's worse than kid acting, it might be kid voice acting. I also felt like Jack Black and Anya Taylor-Joy were much worse in this film compared to the last one. I think Jack Black sounds more strained or hoarse in this movie than the first. I thought it was very weird, and Anya Taylor-Joy just sounded more bored than I was watching the movie. Benny Safdie I thought did okay though. He's I guess redeeming quality of the movie. Yet another problem the first movie had that this one also has is the use of the video game sound effects, mixing it in with the generic stock sound effects. It doesn't really work. It's not consistent enough that it feels natural. It just always feels out of place every time they do it. However, the music I do think is also another redeeming quality of the movie, at least when it's riffing on the Mario music. When it's not doing that, it's just very generic, okay, this is the ominous scene, so play some ominous music. This is the tense scene, play some tense music. This is the sad scene, play sad music. Stuff like that. Just replacing the emotions of the scene rather than accompanying the emotions of the scene. I will say though, there was one scene that had a interesting creative choice that I enjoyed. The scene near the beginning where we see Yoshi, traveling through Brooklyn. We initially see him with the camera angle from behind. We see his back. We get Yoshi back shots, if you will. But then near the end, he gets chased by cops and we see him running away. And it's the same camera angle, but this time we see him from the front. We get Yoshi front shots. I thought that was a genuinely good creative choice. If only the movie had more choices like that. This movie is really just indicative of a major problem with the film industry that a lot of people have. Even people who aren't super into movies can tell that there is something really, really wrong here. A movie like this, which is basically just 90 minutes of filler content that is only made to appeal to babies and toddlers, being this successful, it's not a good sign, especially considering just how little effort was clearly put into the final product. Basically, every Illumination movie is more or less the same, especially, with the art style and the kind of jokes they make. The art style, I don't think I'll ever enjoy the Illumination art style. It just always looks so bland and generic to me, no matter what the movie is. It also always looks very cheap, and these movies are very, very cheap, at least compared to animated movies. They're almost always like $100 million, significantly cheaper than, Disney movies, Pixar movies, even like Studio Ghibli movies. Basically, every decision made with this movie was made with the intent of making as much money as possible. I don't think that there is a universe where I would like this movie, but I don't know. Maybe it's the one where DreamWorks or anyone else other than Illumination had control over it. Like, you could have given this movie to DreamWorks and have them make an actual Super Mario Galaxy movie that just adapts the Super Mario Galaxy game. That would have been fine. It wouldn't have been great, but it would have been fine. It wouldn't have been 90 minutes of filler. In trying to make a movie that would satisfy Super Mario fans, they ended up making something really, really bad that only the most mindless, brainless Mario fan can even bother to defend. I think the most satisfying thing to Mario fans would have been to just make a Mario movie. Yeah, unfortunately did not like this one. I guess I liked it a little bit more. The first one made me mad after I saw it. This one didn't. This one just left me feeling kind of empty. So, I guess it's better. Maybe if I saw it at a showing with a bunch of like kids, then I probably would have enjoyed it less. But I went really late at night to avoid all the kids. Maybe if I watched in that environment, I would have probably had a much more negative experience watching the movie. Really didn't like it at all. Didn't like it at all. Did not like it at all. Bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. 2 out of 10. The other movie I saw recently was The Drama, the latest film from Kristoffer Borgli, a director who I've loved other films from, this one being no exception, possibly his best yet. Real quick, just want to give a slight spoiler alert. I'll try not to spoil the main twist of the movie, but if you haven't seen the movie and you know what the main surprise is, I don't think it would ruin your experience if you haven't seen it yet. But if you don't want it to be spoiled, then just stop watching when I say so. The movie follows a couple played by Robert Pattinson and Zendaya preparing for their wedding when Robert Pattinson's Charlie finds out a dark secret about Zendaya's Emma. It's very jarring for me to see Pattinson and Zendaya in a movie from this director. Honestly, it borders on stunt casting, but it works surprisingly well. Borgli's dark, weird, cringe, comedic style fits Pattinson really well, fits him perfectly actually, and Zendaya does a great job. I thought the other performances from Mamadou Achai and Alana Haim are great as well. The editing I thought was amazing too. Many cuts are very deliberate and carefully placed, but it still adds to the overall erratic and chaotic atmosphere the movie has. Same with the musical score from Daniel Pemberton, who did the score for the Spider-Verse films. I think he did it for both. He might have done it only for Across, but I'm pretty sure he did it for both. I like that the score is very subtle, but it's not like overdoing it. It's not replacing the feeling of the scene. It's accompanying it. Also, the movie to me was just ridiculously funny and just absolutely hilarious. If you have a healthy appetite for cringe humor, you'll probably also find it really funny. The main twist of the movie comes to us in a scene where the main 4 characters are discussing the worst thing they've ever done, and the whole scene is just a microcosm of what the movie does so well. The scene is shot with an uncomfortable closeness. The dialogue and performances feel authentic. There's a lot you can learn about these characters from just their facial expressions and the way they react to new information about each other. and it culminates when Emma reveals her worst thing ever. This is the spoiler section, so skip to this part in the video if you want to not get spoiled. Planning a school shooting when, she was a kid. I think the way this movie handles this revelation is thought-provoking, and the way all the other characters are changed by this piece of information strikes me as very intensely real, but also it adds to the darkly comedic tone of the movie in many, many great ways. There is one scene in particular that, nearly had me in tears because I was laughing so hard that I can't really describe because it doesn't work out of context. Briefly mentioning sound design, I liked a moment during the wedding scene. It made me jump out of my seat, and it was also really, really funny. And also just little moments like, Pattinson putting down a cup in sync with the musical score. It's just little moments, little choices like that make good movies great, and the drama is certainly a great movie. I just love the way that Kristoffer Borgli shows us complicated characters and topics and doesn't really give us the easy answer to the questions that his films pose. Life does not give us easy questions or easy answers, and I think Borgli does a very good job at exploring that fact. Loved the drama, loved the performances, loved the way it was shot, loved the editing, the score, the moral questions, the complicated characters. Basically everything about this movie is just great stuff. Just great stuff. If you haven't seen any of Kristoffer Borgli's movies before this, I think the drama is probably the one you would like the most. Definitely go watch it. 8 out of 10. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. If you liked the video, please like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more content. Follow the letterbox if you want to keep up to date on what I'm watching. Follow me on Twitter. I don't really post super often, but if you want to, you can go ahead, follow me. It doesn't really matter. And of course, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.